Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept our humble obeisances and a very warm welcome to you all. And you have been hearing from His Grace Achyut Arjun Sakha Prabhuji since last 1 month or more. But today he has some important engagement, and that's the reason he is not able to join. But he ordered me to be here. So we are here at your service. We would again like to welcome you all. And as you know, this Gita course that has been designed based on certain themes, important themes of Bhagavad Gita. So today also we are going to talk about one theme where we will understand that how to see Krishna's presence around us in our day-to-day activities so that we increase our remembrance for Lord Krishna. Our consciousness is more absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. So this session, or all the sessions of Gita course, they are dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He is the founder Acharya of our organization. And he spread message of Bhagavad Gita all over the world. And millions of people have become devotee after reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada's translation. So we are also trying to present Prabhupada's teachings as it is. And before that, let us start with a kirtan. By the time others will also join. So I hope my voice is clear. If you see any difficulty, please type in chat box. I hope you are able to hear clearly. So let us start one kirtan now.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
नाम संकीर्तन की जय,
जय।
श्रील प्रभुपाद की
जय।
Let us invoke auspicious Mangalacharan to offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, to our Guru Parampara, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and to Shri Shri Radha Krishna, and to all Vaishnavas. So, Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnana-Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitasha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। Once again, I would like to welcome all devotees who just joined. Thank you very much for joining. And as you know, today we are going to talk about one theme of Bhagavad Gita, that is seeing Krishna's presence around us. And so we have taken this theme from chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. This chapter's name is The Opulence of the Absolute. And we are going to talk about how can we remember Lord Krishna all the time, or how can we increase our remembrance for Lord Krishna. And Krishna has given various steps. Certain examples have been given in this chapter. So we'll talk about those examples. And we'll also try to understand that what is the limit of Krishna's opulence. And if time permits, and we'll try to cover a couple of questions also. So let's continue. Now in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has spoken on various subject matters, right? Like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. But ultimately, at the end, Krishna has touched on Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna has mentioned that you give up everything, you just surrender unto me, you think about me, you become my devotee. Man manabhav, mad bhakto, madhyaji, mam namaskar. You just absorb your consciousness in me. You think about me, you meditate on me, you become my devotee. And if you do so, then I will take care of yourself and I will take care of you, and surely you will come to me. So this is the ultimate instruction given by Krishna. And this instruction has been repeated. It is there in 9th chapter also. It is there at the end of 18th chapter also. So Krishna has stressed on this point that you please think about me and render devotional services. But the point is that it's very difficult to think about Krishna because we have never seen him, right? Krishna's one name is Adhokshaja. Have you heard that name? If you have heard, then you may type yes, or if you line one line description, if you know that, you can type that also. Adhokshaja, that is the name of Krishna. So what does it mean? And okay, so many of you have not heard that. So the point is that Supreme Lord, his completely spiritual personality. So it is not possible to see him through our own senses. It is said, Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahayam indriya. We cannot perceive that personality or anything related to that person through our indriya or our senses. Because our eyes or our senses are made up of matter. And matter can see only matter. Matter can never see something which is spiritual in nature. That's the reason we are not even able to see our own soul also. So if we cannot see ourselves, what to speak of seeing Supreme Lord? It is at all not possible. So that's the reason Krishna's name is Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja means Aksha means eyes. And Adhokshaja means that personality who is beyond our sense perception, like eyes or ears or any other senses. So we cannot perceive that person. If many people think that if I can see Lord face to face, then I will start following all these things. But that is never going to happen because my eyes are not designed like that, that I can see something which is spiritual in nature. So that's the reason we cannot see that. Now Krishna is asking that, and that's the reason Krishna's name is Adhokshaja, means one line meaning is said, that person who cannot be perceived through our senses like eyes or other senses. Now here we are talking about the ultimate message of Krishna, that think about me. So how to think about that person all the time whom we cannot perceive through our senses, whom we cannot conceive through our mind also. How to think about that person. So Arjuna also asked this question after hearing this ultimate message that, my dear Lord, you are asking this to do, but how to do that? Katham vidya aham yogi swam sada parichintayan keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. This is from chapter 10, 10.17. So Krishna, Arjuna says that, my dear Lord Krishna, how shall I constantly think of you? Can you please help me on that? How shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of God? So Arjuna is raising this point on behalf of we people, because Arjuna was still able to see Lord face to face. But when we are supposed to follow teachings of Bhagavad Gita, then how can we do? Because we have never seen Krishna. So whatever questions Arjuna has asked in Bhagavad Gita, actually he has asked for we people. So this is also one of the questions, that in keshu cha bhaveshu, in what different mood and different ways I can remember you or I can think about you. So Krishna answered to this question and he said, Hantate kathayishyami divyayatma vibhutayah pradhanyatah kuru shresha nasyanto visarasyami. That's okay. I'll help you in that. Hantate kathayishyami. I'll definitely tell you. Divyayatma vibhutaya. I will tell you about my transcendental opulence. But pradhanyatah kuru shreshta. I will speak only about pradhanyata. It is only prominent opulence which you can understand. Nasyantyo visarasyami. Because there is no end to my opulence. There is no end to my power. So Krishna agreed to tell about certain points. Now, though Krishna agreed, but we need to understand that we humans have a very limited mind. We cannot understand everything, especially if a living entity, tiny soul, is asking to Supreme Lord that, please tell me about your power. So what will Lord tell? Just like a very small child, a 4 or 5-year-old child, is talking to some great scientist, and if he says that, can you please explain me this rocket science, how rocket goes into space and how it functions? So what will that scientist answer? Certainly, he's not going to teach the real rocket science because he knows that that child cannot perceive that, right? It is beyond his power. So similarly, a tiny soul, if asking that, okay, if tiny soul asks that, okay, please tell me about your power. So Krishna, even if he tells about his real power, we cannot perceive it. It's not at all possible. But Krishna is not denying, just like that scientist doesn't say that, okay, I cannot tell you. But Krishna, the scientist will try to say in some very simple words, which a child can understand in the context of his own toys. That look how your aeroplane flies and this way rocket goes and something like that. So in the context of those things which a child can understand, for example, his own toys. Similarly, if we want to know about power of Supreme Lord, then if he tells about his real power, then we won't be able to perceive it. So Krishna is telling us those things which we can understand, which we have seen in our material world. Because if something is quoted out of this world, or some example is given which we have not experienced in our personal life, then it is not possible for us to understand that, right? So whatever we have experienced in this material world around us, in that context, Krishna is giving certain examples through which we can increase our remembrance for Lord Krishna. And importantly, he is quoting or he is giving examples of those things which are around us. For example, if somebody say that, okay, what is the topmost luminary? Luminary means those objects which give light and heat. So if we think about luminaries, so yes, we have seen, for example, a small lamp which we offer every day, or a torch, or a fire, or stars. They all give light and heat. So can you think about some luminary which is there in our experience and which is topmost? Or if this question is asked, and what will you answer? You may type in the chat box again that what is the topmost luminary which we experience in our life? Okay, I'm getting message, audio is not clear. Is it there with everyone? Is it there with everyone? My audio is not clear. Can others also respond on that? Okay. Okay, so if some are saying that it is clear, so if somebody is facing difficulty, please try to re-log in or check your own setup. Okay, so coming back to my question is that if we think about luminaries in our own experience, and what is the highest? So yes, many of you are answering that sun, some of you answered moon. Okay, so yes, these are different luminaries which give light, but yes, in our experience, there is nothing bigger than sun. Sun is the topmost luminary which we experience, right? There, we cannot even think of something bigger than sun. Even we cannot understand. Sun itself is unfathomable for us, isn't it? So Krishna is saying in that context, Krishna is saying that, okay, if you are thinking in domain of luminaries, there are so many things. Right now, let's focus on the domain of luminaries. So what is the topmost which you can perceive? So we say, yes, we can think about sun, which is topmost, and we cannot think something beyond sun, right? So Krishna says, okay, then you consider sun as my representative. And whenever you see sun, then you remember me. So in that way, that is the pattern Krishna has followed in this way, and he's going to different domains, and then he says that whatever highest you see in that domain, you consider that as my representative. And whenever you think about it, whenever you see that, you think about me, you remember. So that is a pattern Krishna has followed. Now let's talk about a couple of examples. Like just we talked about sun. So we'll talk more about that. This is one verse from 10th chapter again. All verses will be there from 10th chapter in this session. So Krishna says, Adityanam aham Vishnu, Jyotisham Raviranshima, Maruche Marutamasmi, Nakshatranam aham Shashi. So he says that Jyotisham Raviranshima. So whenever we see sun, so like morning sun, rising sun, setting sun, sun is very beautiful. And whenever we wonder about sun's energy, sun's power, whenever we see radiant sun, very effulgent sun, so at that time, we can remember Lord Krishna. Because Jyotisham Raviranshana, among all Jyotish, among all luminaries, sun represents Krishna. Of course, Krishna can represent much more higher than sun, but because in our world we have seen sun and we can correlate with that, so Krishna is giving that example that among all luminaries you consider me as sun. So let's remember that point, that every day we see sunrise, sunset. People go to hill station to just see this, just observe this sunrise, beautiful sunrise, sunset. And sometimes we wonder about sun's energy, that how sun is so powerful. And even in our academic studies also, we talk about sun, that sun is the source of life on this planet. Sun is the source of everything. Sun is the source of water cycle. Sun is the source of vegetation on this planet. So if we are talking about all greatness of sun, then we must remember that the sun is representing Lord Krishna. And in that way, whenever we see, at that time, please remember this line of Bhagavad Gita, Jyotisham Raviranshama, that sun represents power of Lord Krishna. So that is one way. And this is very practical. Every day we see that. Similarly, if we talk about nakshatras, in English they are translated as stars. So then please don't get into technical definition or difference between planet and stars. But here, if we talk about nakshatras, so many nakshatras are there, stars are there. And we know that moon is most attractive, right? And moon is like king of all stars. And we all humans get attracted to it. Many people like to do poetry on moon. And in many ways, people relate with moon in their life. So whenever we see moon, beautiful full moon or different shapes of moon, every day it changes. So whenever we see that, we must remember this line of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, Nakshatranam aham shashi. Among all nakshatras, you consider me as moon. So in that way, definitely at that moment, the moment I notice sun or moon, if I remember Krishna, is it not a good way to increase my remembrance for Lord Krishna? So in that way, very practical things have been given. For example, third one, where it says, Sarsamasmi Sagara. So as I mentioned, that Krishna is going to different domains. First, he talked about luminaries. He talked about many examples, but first I considered about luminaries and I consider these nakshatras because we see them every day. Now, if we talk about water bodies, so yes, there are different types of water bodies, like a small lake or canal or fountain or waterfall or dam, other rivers also. But then, what is the what is the topmost water body which we have experienced on this planet? So definitely it is ocean, sagar. Okay, let me mute. So definitely it is ocean, and this ocean is unfathomable for us, right? We can't measure its depth or length or breadth, isn't it? And that ocean is also representative of Krishna, Sarasamasmi Sagar. And this ocean is so big that if it moves a little bit, very slight movement is there in ocean, it can inundate whole planet within few seconds, isn't it? But the more amazing point is that ocean is completely controlled. We go on sea beach and we are 100% assured that that ocean will not cross its boundaries. We are fearless at that time. You're not fearful because I know it will not come on. But the power is like that. Even a small vibration in that ocean can inundate whole planet. So, but it is controlled by higher authorities under the guidance of Supreme Lord. So whenever we go to sea beach or whenever we talk about ocean, sitting far away also, at that time we should remember this line that Sarasamasmi Sagar, that Lord Krishna, at that time we can remember, and ocean represents Lord's power. So these are very practical ways of increasing our remembrance for Lord Krishna. Though Krishna has talked about many examples in this chapter, certain examples we can perceive, but certain examples are there which are difficult to understand for we Kali Yugi people. For example, in this verse, Krishna says, Marichi Marutamasmi. Among all Marus, I am Marichi. Now we Kali Yugi people, we have deviated from our scriptures. We are not following anything nowadays, so we don't know who are Marus, who is Marichi, we have no idea. But during Vedic time, people had idea about that. Because this Bhagavad Gita is not spoken only for Kali Yugi people, but this knowledge is transcendental knowledge, which is beyond time, place, and any circumstances. So people during Vedic time, they were well aware and they have opportunity to see demigods also, because demigods used to descend on this planet at that time. But in Kali Yuga, this earth planet has been quarantined. This quarantine is not a new concept, but it has all, the whole planet has been quarantined. Nowadays, no great personalities from heavenly planets visit to this earthly planet. So anyway, the point is that these kind of examples which Krishna has given, though they are very relevant, but we have deviated from all these teachings and we have degraded. They are not very appealing for us. So I don't know who is Marut, who is Marechi. So, okay, we don't find that example very practical. But these examples which I quoted here, they are very, very practical. And they can certainly help us to increase our remembrance for Lord Krishna. Another example it is mentioned, Aditya Nam Aham Vishnu. So we all know this Aditya name is very common nowadays. Let me see, anyone is here? Okay, no one is here, Aditya. So anyone knows the meaning of Aditya? If yes, you can type meaning of Aditya, or okay, one meaning is coming sun. Okay, so mostly our volunteers are answering. So one meaning is sun, son of Aditi. Yeah, very nice. So Preeti Mataji has answered son of Aditi. Yes. So Aditya, sun is also correct. Sun is one of Adityas, and actually the meaning of Aditya means son of Aditi. So son of Aditi and Kashyap Muni, they all are known as Adityas. There are around 12 Adityas. Like Indra is also one of Adityas, Sun is also one of Adityas. And one of Aditya is this Vaman Dev. Vaman Dev, Vatu Brahman, who appeared on this planet, who is incarnation of Supreme Lord, and who asked for 3-step land from Bali Maharaj. And he covered whole planet in those 3 steps. Right? So we know that story of Vaman Dev's appearance. So he is also one of Adityas. So Krishna is saying that whenever we talk about Adityas, please consider or remember me as Vaman Dev. So, okay, that example or that narration is very nice. But here, as I said, that we people are not nowadays very much associated with our Vedic teachings, and we are not following that much. So, some of us might find it difficult to think about Adityas or Maruts or Marichi. So anyway, I will try to cover more practical example in this session, like 3 examples which we have covered here: sun among luminaries, and then moon among all nakshatras, and then ocean among all water bodies. Please do remember these 3 examples because they are very practical for us. Whenever you notice moon, sun, or ocean, please remember Lord Krishna. So let's talk about a few more examples. Okay, so one is that here you see picture of Lord Shiva, and it is mentioned Rudrana Shankarash. So Lord Shiva's annihilating principle is known as Rudra, and as you all know, there are 11 Rudras, and Lord Shiva is one of those 11 Rudras. And Lord Shiva's annihilating power is so wonderful that he destroys whole universe just by dancing. Isn't it wonderful? And here, if we think about that annihilating power of Lord Shiva, then we must remember Lord Krishna. Krishna is saying so, because actually Lord Shiva is Gunavatar of Supreme Lord. He is a kind of incarnation of Supreme Lord. So whenever we go to temple of Lord Shiva, we must bow down. We must pray for mercy of Lord Shiva. And at that time, we must remember Lord Krishna also. Rudranam Shankarash. This line is from Bhagavad Gita. We must remember that. And we should never have any kind of separatist mentality for him, because he is a kind of incarnation of Supreme Lord. So this is very often we see Lord Shiva at that time. Please remember Lord Krishna also. And then Adhyatma Vidya Vidyana. Here you can see that. My mouse is here. Adhyatma Vidya Vidyana. So among different types of Vidya or knowledge, Krishna is saying that I am Adhyatma Vidya. So broad categorization is that there are 2 types of knowledge: material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. And material knowledge has various branches, and even Vedas talk about both material knowledge as well as spiritual knowledge. But Krishna is saying that among various branches of knowledge, you see me in the form of spiritual knowledge. Now, what do we mean by Adhyatma Vidya? So, as we know, Vedas are very vast, various types of teachings have been given, but very basic point we all must know as part of knowledge. And that basic point is that who is Supreme Lord? That is the first one. What is our position compared to Supreme Lord? What is our real position? And how we are related to Supreme Lord? What is the ultimate purpose of my life? How can I attain that ultimate purpose in my life? So these are the ways. These are the ways we connect to Supreme Lord. That is one thing, and that is part of spiritual knowledge, right? So Krishna is saying that Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. You consider me as that Adhyatma Vidya. And after that, Vedanam, let me read this verse. Vedanam sam vedosmi devanam asmi vasubha indriyanam manaschasmi bhutanam asmi chaitana. So we know 4 Vedas, Vedanam, Samavedos. Though we had never studied those Vedas, we don't know. We know only names of these 4 Vedas, Samved, Rigved, Yajurved, Atharvaved. So practically we have no experience of Vedas, right? But anyway, this is part of this verse. So I would just like to mention that among 4 Vedas, Krishna is saying that you consider me as Samveda, because Samveda is full of very melodious prayers, and also 7 notes of music, they have also come from Samaved. So in that way, Samaved, many other glories have been defined about Samaved. So in that way, Samaved is more glorious. So Krishna is saying that remember me. But anyway, for we people, it's not very practical. As I mentioned that we don't study Vedas at all, right? So fine, let's talk about another example. Where Krishna says, Indriyana Manashyasmi. So among all senses, Indriya means senses, among all senses, you see me as mind. So first of all, I hope you all are aware that how many senses we have in our body. So you may type in chat box how many senses we have in the body. Yes. Okay, 5, 6. Yes. 8. Oh, Balaji Prabhu is saying 8. Okay. So, a lot of differences are coming. Okay. So, many of you have answered 5. Now, we know 5 senses. We read in our academic book also. They represent our Gyanendriya. Gyanendriya means knowledge acquiring senses, through which we perceive some knowledge when we see, when we hear, like that, right? And 24. Okay. So many answers are coming, but yes, 5 are basic Gyanendriyas through which we acquire knowledge. Other than that, 5 Karmendriyas are also there. I hope you have heard about Karmendriyas through which we perform certain activities, like our hands, our legs, through which we move, then our tongue, power of speech, then power to reproduce, power to evacuate. These all are known as Karmendriyas. So total 5 plus 5, 10. But there is one more sense, as many of you have written here, 5 plus 5 plus 1. So that another sense is our mind, who is king of all the senses. And no, it is difficult to control. It is very, very difficult to control mind. It is easy to control other senses. It's possible, but it's very difficult to control our mind. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has mentioned that mind is our best friend. At the same time, mind is our topmost enemy also. Sometimes we wonder on the power of mind. We have seen in this world, due to restless mind, very frustrated mind, disturbed mind, people commit blunder mistake. Right? At the same time, we have seen many examples that on the strength of mind, people have performed Herculean job in this world, isn't it? So mind can work in both ways. And that's the reason mind is king of all senses. So if we wonder on the power of mind, at that time we must remember Lord Krishna. It means, again, the point is in that domain, if I'm talking about the domain of senses, I'm not talking about any other thing, just talking about the world of senses, domain of senses. In that, who is the most powerful sense? So, mind is the most powerful sense. So, in that way, we should understand that mind is representative of Krishna. So, that is also one nice example which Krishna has given. Now, before talking about next example, you can tell me in one line that what is the difference between a living body and a dead body? Or how do I understand that a body is dead or living? Might be 1 or 2 words if you can answer in chat box. That will be helpful. Okay. Breath stops. Okay. Living body has soul, no movement. Yes, couple of answers are coming. So if we go, yes, soul, brain stops. So yes, many things are coming that something stops. Movement stop, brain stop, pranavayu, that breath, life air stops. These are the symptoms we identify. So even if we don't go close, but from far also we can see that, okay, there is no movement in the body, or body is not at all conscious. So that consciousness has gone away from body, and thus reason everything has stopped. My breathing has stopped, my functioning has stopped, the temperature is maintained and blood is circulated. That functionality has stopped because consciousness has gone out. So the conscious, otherwise everything is same. In the dead body also, heart is there, blood is there, bone is there, weight is also exactly same, no difference. But then consciousness, that body is not giving any sign of movement or consciousness. In that way, we understand that, okay, that body is dead body. So whenever we wonder about this power of consciousness, few years back, scientists have published a magazine, science magazine. In that magazine, they have covered a couple of questions which are not answered by science. And one of the top 10 questions was that, what is the source of consciousness? So scientists are wondering what is the source of consciousness, how that consciousness comes into body. And here in Bhagavad Gita, we read that Lord is the source of consciousness. And here, the next example where Krishna gives, Bhuta Namasmi Chetana, among all living entities, I'm the consciousness. Whenever you wonder about the power of consciousness, you remember me. That is the word of Krishna. So whenever we talk about consciousness, or we wonder about the power of consciousness, we must remember Lord Krishna. So these are the various examples. So how to understand these examples? Why or how Krishna is going to different domains? Just like when we appear for some interview, you all have appeared in some or other interview, then there generally interviewer asks one question about your area of expertise, and that you say, okay, I'm expert in this area. Then interviewer asks that, okay, how do you rate yourself between 1 to 10 in this particular area, whatever area you are working? So we say, okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. So if this question is asked to Krishna, that, okay, because you are Supreme Lord, so among luminaries, how do you rate yourself? So Krishna is thinking that, okay, what is your power to think about luminaries? Maximum you can think about sun. So, okay, you can rate myself as sun. You can see me as sun. Similarly, among senses, what can you think of senses? And we think that, okay, mind is highest. So then Krishna is saying that, okay, you consider mind as my representative. Or if we talk about, like, how do you rate yourself in water bodies? So then Krishna is asking that, okay, what do you think about water body? Which is the highest one? And we say, we think ocean is the topmost. Then Krishna says, okay, you consider ocean as my representative. So in that way, in that manner, Krishna is giving various examples where we can think about Krishna and absorb our consciousness more and more in our day-to-day examples. So let's talk about a few more examples. Okay. So here, Maharshinam Prabhuraham Giramasyekam Aksharam Yagyana Japa Yagyosmi Savaranam Himalaya. So one is Giram Asyam Ekam Aksharam. If we talk about different types of sound vibrations, then Krishna is saying that Om represents me. So many of us, or almost every one of us, is hearing this Om since our childhood, but we don't know that this Om represents Lord Krishna. It is clearly mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that Om represents Lord Krishna. And that's the reason all the Vedic verses and mantras, they are prefixed with Om chanting to indicate that, somehow we invoke remembrance to Supreme Lord. So here Om represents Supreme Lord. And then that is one example. So whenever you hear this Om chanting, we do not chant Om, but we chant this more personal Mahamantra, where personal names are considered like Krishna and Ram and Hari. But yes, whenever Vedic mantras are chanted, Om is chanted. And whenever we hear that, we must remember Lord Krishna. And next example is Sthavaranam Himalaya. If we talk about immovable things, which do not move, for example, very big body, very gigantic body, some hills, some big rock. So what is the topmost which we have seen in our experience? So we know that the topmost one is a big mountain on this planet, that is Himalayan mountain, topmost mountain, highest mountain. So whenever we talk about Himalaya, whenever we go to Himalaya, whenever we think about Himalaya, at that time, we must remember Lord Krishna or this particular line of Bhagavad Gita, Stavaranam Himalaya. So that is also one thing. Himalaya is actually on this planet, Himalaya is highest, but as per Vedic scriptures, there are much bigger mountains also in this planetary system, like Meru mountain. But it is also mentioned that Meru mountains moves sometimes, little bit movement is there, but Himalaya does not move. So amongst Savarana, Himalaya is the object which we have to remember, and that represents Lord Krishna. And then let's talk about Yajnanam Japa Yajnasmi. So first of all, what is Yajna? If you can type in one or two words, what is Yajna? Whatever idea you have about Yajna. Okay. Okay, so no problem. I'm not getting any answer. So Yajna means, most of the people think that Yajna means a fire kund sacrifice. Agni kunda Yajna. That most of the people have that kind of understanding.
Homa.
Homage also, yeah. Offering to God, yes, offering to God. So yes, Yajna means, the basic definition of Yajna is certain processes mentioned in scriptures which are defined for our purifications. Yes, I'm getting good examples now, like sacrifice, tapasya, offering homage to God. That all you have written in the chat box. So thank you very much. So this yajna, these are the various processes mentioned in the scriptures to please Supreme Lord, as well as to purify our existence. So there are various types of yajnas. Yajna doesn't mean only fire kund sacrifice, but there are various types of yajnas. For example, Jnana yajna is also a kind of yajna where people try to acquire some knowledge and try to understand things around them. Tapa yajna, it means doing some fasting, some austerity. That is also a kind of yajna. And then Sankirtan Yajna, where we chant names of Supreme Lord, we glorify Supreme Lord. That is also a kind of yajna. Then Swadhyaya Yajna. Swadhyaya Yajna means study of scriptures. That is also a kind of yajna. Then Dravya Yajna means using our resources, our money, our activities for some social welfare activities. That is also a kind of yajna. So various types of yajnas have been mentioned in scriptures. And it is also mentioned, this particular verse, which I quoted from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, you have been hearing right from first day in this Gita course that Krate Dhyayato Vishnu. These yajnas are there for pleasure of Supreme Lord, but different yajnas have been recommended according to different time. Because what people of Satyug were able to do, we are not able to do that. So whatever process has been given to us, this is according to my own capability, which I can do. So, Krate Dhyayato, people of Satyuga, they used to do meditation. That is also a kind of yajna. People of Treta Yuga, they used to do fire sacrifice. That is also a kind of yajna. People of Dwapar Yuga, they used to do this deity worship according to rules and regulations of Pancharatra. That is also a kind of yajna. And people of Kali Yuga, they are recommended to follow Japa yajna. But we don't know one point, very important point, that Yagyanam Japa Yagyosmi. Out of all sacrifices which have been mentioned in our scriptures, this Japa Yagya is the highest. For example, coming back to that example of luminaries. Now, there are various luminaries. A small lamp which we offer every day, a small diya, that is also luminary. And sun is also luminary. Now, Krishna is saying that among all types of luminaries, I am sun. Now, is there any comparison between a small lamp and sun? There is no comparison. Similarly, various methods of sacrifices have been given in scripture. Various methods of sacrifices have been given in scriptures, but there is no comparison. Out of all those methods, this yagya, japa yagya, that means chanting names of Lord Hari, is topmost. And we are very fortunate that we have been given that process. It is not only topmost, highest, but it is the most simple way also. And that's the reason too much stress is there on chanting of Lord Hari. Okay. Now, point is that we accept this point that Japa Yagya is highest because it has been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita also. But many times people ask this question that, okay, but what to chant? Which names of Lord Hari we should chant? Because so many names are there, and we read from scriptures that all names are very powerful, right? So why so much stress is there on this Hare Krishna? Why can't I chant any other name? So first is that, yes, we can chant any name of Lord. All names are very powerful. But let's talk about one point, that who is telling us that we should chant names of Lord Hari? So scriptures are telling us, right? We are following instructions of scriptures, right? Second thing is that who is telling us that for Dwapar Yuga, this deity worship is yagya, or for Kali Yuga, Harinam Sankirtan is yagya. So again, we are accepting the authority of scriptures, right? So we are following authority of scriptures. Scriptures are telling us that you follow this Harinam Kirtan. Scriptures are telling us that for Kali Yuga, this Harinam Sankirtan is the best one. So which mantra has to be chanted? We have to take advice from scriptures only, right? So though all names are powerful, but if I want to know about which mantra has been recommended, we have to again go back to scriptures and think about it, hear from scriptures. So you all know that many scriptures have given reference to Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I would like to quote one narration, as you already know, but let us read it again to give us full faith in this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is a conversation between Brahmaji and Narad Muni, and this conversation is there in Kali Santaran Puran. So let's read that. Dvaparanto Narado Brahmanam Jagam Katham Bhagwan Gam Paritam Kalin Santarayam. So it is mentioned Dvaparanto Narado. It means at the end of Dwapar Yuga, Narad Muni, Brahmanam Jagan, he went to his father and spiritual master Brahma and Katham Bhagwan Gam, because Narad Muni is always wandering. He is not at one place. He is a world tourist all the time. So he's always wandering. So at the end of Dwapar Yuga, he approached to his spiritual master and father, Brahmaji, and he asked, Kalim Santarayamiti, my dear father, my dear Guru, please tell me that how to protect, or how living entities can protect themselves from influence of Kali. Because Kali's influence are so dangerous. Even if we want to protect ourselves, very, very difficult. So, Sahovacha Brahma. So, Brahmaji replied, Sadhu Prasto. Sadhu means very nice. He asked a very nice question. Sarvashruti Rahasyam Gopyam Tat Shruno Yena Kali Sansar. That this question is very nice, but its answer is very difficult to find. It's very rahasya, very mysterious. It's not easy to find because it is like a gem. In ocean, various gems are there, but they are not floating on the surface that anybody can go and fetch them. They are hiding at the seabed. So similarly, all gems of scriptures, they're hiding somewhere. Acharyas, great people, they try to find out. So here we read that. So Brahma says, very nice question, but solution you will not find easily. And what is the solution? Bhagavanat Adi Purushasya Narayanasya Namocharana Matrina Nidhuno Kalir Bhavati. This influence of Kali can be dried away just by Namocharana Matrina, just by chanting names of Lord Hari, Lord Narayan. So, okay, that is the way recommended in Kali Santaran Puran. But Narad Muni, again, he knows everything, but he asked many questions for people. Then he asked, Narada Punha Papracha. Narad Muni again asked, Kim iti? He said, Tannam Kim iti. That, okay, Father, but which all names we should chant because there are infinite names of Lord Hari. Sahovacha Hiranyagarbha. Then Hiranyagarbha, Lord Brahma's name is Hiranyagarbha. He replied, he said, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Nam Kali Kalmashanasham. An exact description has been given that the 16th syllable mantra has to be chanted for Kali Yuga. Nataha Parataropaya, there is no better solution than that. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. You may search whole Vedas, but you will not find a better solution. Punar Narada Papracha. Narad Muni again asked, Bhagavan, ko asya vidhiriti? What is its vidhiriti? What are the rules and regulations? Tam hovacha. Then Narad Muni answered, Na asya vidhiriti. There is no vidhiriti for this mantra because this is not mantra, this is Maha Mantra. Sarvada Ashuchir Ashuchirva Patan Brahmarta Salokatam Samipatam Sarupatam Sayuchamiti. That even if you are in very unclean status, Shuchi or Shuchi, or morning time, afternoon time, evening time, even night time, whenever you find time, you please chant this mantra. There are no rules and regulations associated with this mantra. There are many other mantras, but we have to follow rules and regulations with that. And the power, we cannot compare this mantra with any other mantra. So that has been very clearly mentioned in Kali Santaran Puran. Not only Kali Santaran Puran, there are other references also like Sanat Kumar Samhita, Anand Samhita, Vayu Puran, where this mantra has been mentioned. So, and many times we hear that people are chanting this mantra, but sometimes people say that, okay, this mantra starts from Hare Ram, not from Hare Krishna. So let me tell you that scriptures talk about both versions. This Hare Krishna is starting from Hare Krishna as well as starting from Hare Rama also. If we talk or if we read from Sanat Kumar Samhita, Anand Samhita, Vayu Puran, Brahmanda Puran, Sri Radha Tantra, Sri Brahma Yamana, then we notice the mantra which starts from Hare Krishna. If we talk about the recent version of Kali Santaran Puran, then there the mantra starts from Hare Rama. But it is also mentioned that this edition was published in 1740 by some impersonalist. But anyway, we don't need to get into this kind of debate. Our all acharyas have chanted mantras starting from Hare Krishna. All Vrindavan Goswamis have chanted mantras starting from Hare Krishna. Our parampara, which is there, very old parampara, which is going up to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then Madhvacharya and then Vyasadev. In that parampara, we are receiving this mantra. So we should not debate on this and we should accept mantra. So these are names of Supreme Lord, and because this is Mahamantra, they can be chanted in any way. But the most important thing is that we have to chant mantra. So please accept this process. So Yajnanam Japa Yajnasmi. Let's not forget it. If we forget all other examples, that is fine. But we should not forget this point that Yajnanam Japa Yajnasmi. So that was one wonderful point Krishna mentioned. Other than that, few more examples. For example, Aksharanam akarosmi dvandha samasika sija ahamevakshaya kalo dhataham vishwato mukha. So few more references have been given. One is that Aksharanam akarosmi. If we talk about all the alphabets of Devanagari Lipi or Sanskrit Lipi, then Krishna is saying that akarosmi, this letter A, Akshar A is very, very important because without this Akshar all other letters of Devanagari Lipi, they are not complete, they are incomplete. So I hope you are aware about this concept. For example, I have given an example here that we write ma and we write this halant also, right? And if we write like this, and this word is like half ma, this is not complete ma. But when this is mixed with vowel, swar, then it becomes complete ma. So without this we cannot pronounce any word completely. We cannot even talk because this is mixed with every letter, isn't it? So if we think, just close your eyes and just think about the world of alphabets, this Devanagari Lipi. So what is the most important letter which is present everywhere? Just like we say that Krishna, our Supreme Lord, is present everywhere and the whole world is resting on Supreme Lord. Similarly, if I close my eyes and if I think about world of alphabets, then everything is resting on this letter A. And this letter A is present everywhere. So Krishna is saying, Aksharanam Akarosi. You see A as my representative in the world of alphabets. So that is also a nice example. Then, yes, if we talk about all trees, plants, so various useful plants are there, but Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshana. Okay, I'm not able to mute, but please mute yourself. So Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshana. So among all trees, Krishna is saying that this banyan tree is like king of all trees. It attracts everybody. When we see a huge, gigantic banyan tree, it's very attractive. And Krishna is saying that whenever you see banyan tree, you just remember me. So that is awesome. That is very practical example. We see quite often banyan tree at that time. Just if we cannot say loudly in our mind, we should say Hare Krishna. We should remember Lord Krishna. So it's very practical example. Then another example, here you see, top right corner, Dhata Hum Vishwatomukha. That if we talk about creators, so this creativity is there among all living entities. It is there in like birds and animals also, and it is certainly there in humans also. In various fields, we exhibit our creativity like art and science and architecture. So creativity is there, but in the domain of creativity, if I want to think about the topmost personality, then who is that personality? So we read from scriptures that this whole universe is designed or created by Brahmaji. Brahmaji is first living entity. So we are not talking about Bhagavan Tattva. Of course, Brahma is also deriving his power, his potency of creation from Supreme Lord. And that has been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, through a conversation between Brahmaji and Narad Muni, that Brahma receives his creativity from Supreme Lord. But right now we are talking about the world of living entities. And in that world, in the domain of creativity, if I can think about some topmost personality, then that personality is Brahmaji. And Brahmaji has designed this planetary system, cosmic manifestation. Brahmaji has designed 8.4 billion types of species also. Right? So there is no comparison between our creation and his creation. So there is no comparison. Right? So he's Rajan Karta. So here we can see, if we talk about creators, if we think about Brahma, then Brahma represents Lord Krishna. So whenever we hear about Brahma stories or any other reference from scriptures, and we should remember Lord Krishna. Similarly, another example, Devarshinam Narada. Among all Devarshis, Devarshi means sages or rishis of Devalok, heavenly planets. So if we talk about sages of heavenly planet, then Narad Muni is best among all those sages. Unfortunately, in certain TV serials and stories, Narad Muni is presented as some kind of funny character. But if we read Srimad Bhagavatam, then we understand how glorious this character is. Narad Muni is present in almost every chapter or every other chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Narad Muni can preach anybody. If anyone who comes in association of Narad Muni is sure to become devotee of Supreme Lord, Narad Muni can preach to a dacoit also. Narad Muni can preach to a hunter also, Mrigaryo. Narad Muni can preach to small child like Prahlad or Dhruva also. And Narad Muni can preach to great personality like Vyasadeva also. Narad Muni is a spiritual master of Vyasadeva. So whenever we are hearing some narrations of Devarshis, Narad Muni is best. He is the original preacher. So that is also one example. Another example is that Srotsam Asmi Jahanavi. So if we talk about all rivers, then what comes to our mind? So it doesn't matter, devotees, non-devotees, atheists, everyone in this country thinks about river Ganga, isn't it? That we remember about Ganga. We know that this Ganga is the best river. Why it is best? Because this river has come, emanated from the lotus feet of Lord Hari. And that's the reason it has power to purify everyone, not only on this planet, but even on heavenly planets. This river Ganga is there in heavenly planets also. So whenever we go and take bath in river Ganga, or we use Ganga Jal, or we talk about river Ganga, at that time we must offer obeisances and we must remember Lord Krishna. Among all rivers, she represents Lord Krishna. So that is also one practical way we can increase our remembrance for Lord Krishna. We can talk about few more examples. I think we have sufficient time. Okay. We have half an hour. Let's talk few more examples. Now, one example is Kalaha Kalayatamaha. Among all subduers, Krishna says, you see me as time, because time is the highest subdue. And we also accept this time that with time, everything destroys, isn't it? How powerful that person is, but with time, he loses his power. Or doesn't matter how beautiful a person is, but with time, he loses his beauty. Similarly, a person might be very famous, but with time, he loses his fame, name, everything, isn't it? So every object, every person, every empire finishes with time. If you talk about Mughal Empire, at that time, nobody thought that Mughal Empire can get destroyed. But it happened within few hundred years. That empire completely disappeared from this planet. Today's date, not even a single person is there from the dynasty who can say that I belong to Mughal Empire. After that, British Empire came. And at that time, it was people used to say that sun never sets in British Empire. But what happened? It was game of only a few hundred years. That's it. So time can subdue everything, every empire, every living entity, every non-living entity, anything, isn't it? So, and the important point is that we are completely controlled by time. We cannot control time. We cannot stop anything which is getting destroyed with time. For example, our bodily strength or a bodily luster or anything. We remain standing in front of mirror and we can't do anything. Or even if we spend millions of dollars, we can't do anything. Only thing is that we can utilize this time. So we have to think that how best can I utilize my time? And that is the reason we are connecting to Bhagavad Gita. We are connecting to this process of Krishna consciousness so that whatever time is there in my life, let me utilize it in the best possible way to attain the ultimate purpose of my life. So let's be very, very conscious about our time. Let's not waste our time in some useless gossip or just wandering here and there for no reason. Please utilize your time to engage more and more in Krishna conscious activities, chanting, hearing, reading. Otherwise, no other activity is going to give us benefit. And time is simply passing. With every sunrise and every sunset, Srimad Bhagavatam says the sun is taking away our life. So whenever we think about this wonderful energy of Supreme Lord, we must remember Lord Krishna. That is a way to remember Lord Krishna. So that is one nice point. The next one is Mrityuh Sarva Harasham. Among all devouring principles, Krishna says, I am death. Devouring principles means those who can take away from us. Because since childhood, we have been struggling to possess many things. We struggle for education, we struggle for earning money, and we try to possess more and more money, relations, family, and then name, fame. And time to time, some people take up, for example, government might take away some property, or police takes away, some relatives take away, some business partners, they cheat us. But Mrityu Sarva Harashya. Mrityu is that which takes away everything in a moment. Everything in a moment, isn't it? And that's the reason most of the people are afraid of death. Almost everybody is afraid of death because we fear to lose everything. And Krishna also mentioned, yes, I take away everything in the form of death. But if we associate with Krishna during our lifetime, if we follow this path of Krishna consciousness, then people are not afraid at the time of death. We have practically experienced many devotees very gracefully, they leave their body, very gracefully and joyfully. We practically see that in our congregation. So they are not afraid. Devotees also die. We cannot avoid death, but they are not afraid. But those people who are not connected to Supreme Lord and they are not aware about all these things, they are very fearful, so much fearful, so that they start crying at the time of death. So let's remember, if we cannot accept Krishna during our lifetime, then we are forced to accept in very fierce form, and that is death. So Mrityu Sarva Harashya, that is also one example Krishna gives. So, okay. Let's talk a few more. Dyutam Chalayatamasmi. Krishna is best in various fields. If we talk about beauty, if we talk about power, if we talk about fame, strength, or artwork, or whatever, knowledge, everywhere Krishna is topmost. That is what we are reading in all these examples, right? But if we talk about some negative aspect, for example, cheating propensities, then there also Krishna is saying that no one can defeat Krishna. If Krishna decides to cheat somebody, then no one can stop. Krishna excels in that. So it is mentioned that if we cannot cheat Krishna, we can cheat all other living entities on this planet, but we cannot cheat Krishna, and we cannot cheat the true representative of Krishna, that is Guru. So we cannot cheat Krishna and Guru. It is not possible, but we can cheat all other people. So anyway, in this particular point, Krishna is saying, Dyutam Chalayatamasi, that among all cheating propensities, gambling represents cheating propensity, right? Gambling is the highest. So Krishna is saying that you see me in the form of gambling if you're talking in the domain of cheating propensities. And that's the reason this no gambling is one of the regulative principles. Stay away from it. If we get cheated, then it will be very difficult to protect ourselves. So this is one of the regulative principles. I hope you all are aware about the regulative principles and you have discussed about it in the last couple of sessions. Now, many people, they are not able to digest this point that how can Krishna says that, I am Dyutam Chalyatamasmi, the gambling, or the I'm also having cheating propensity. And many people raise this point, or they do not like Krishna because he cheated Kauravas on the battlefield, right? We all know a couple of examples. For example, Yudhishthira Maharaj did not want to lie. He did not want to say that Ashwatthama has been killed. But Krishna asked him to say so. Krishna forced him to say so that Dronacharya can be killed. That was the only way Pandavas realized. Though Yudhishthira Maharaj was very reluctant to speak that, but he did so. Similarly, Arjun did not want to release his arrows on an unarmed Karna, right, who was fixing his chariot wheel on the ground at that time. But Krishna indicated, and Arjun had to release that arrow. Similarly, Bhimsen, he did not want to violate rules of this Gada Yuddha, mace fighting. But Krishna indicated, and Bhimsen did so, and he attacked on the lower part of body, and he broke thigh bone of Duryodhana, which was against this mace fighting. So when we hear about all these narrations, then we wonder that why Krishna does so. We don't like that. Krishna could have told us, don't worry, I am the best person, I am with you. Why should we follow cheating propensities? But here he wanted to prove this point that, look, if you cheat others, then you will get cheated. Throughout his life, Duryodhana made many plans to cheat Pandavas. But when the crucial moment of his life came, Krishna cheated him because he exhibited cheating propensity throughout his life. So this is a very important message. If we also maintain cheating propensities, then definitely we'll be cheated. And Krishna wants to give this message very strongly, and that's the reason he says, Adyutam Chalayatamasi. So let's remember and let's stay away from any kind of cheating propensity. It's very important. And if we see some cheating propensity, then we must remember that Krishna can cheat me if I maintain this. So, okay, that is one example. Now let's talk about a couple of more. Dando Damayatamasi. If we talk about punishing authorities in this world, so what are different punishing authorities? For example, in family, if child commits some mistake, then who is the punishing authority? Certainly, parents are the punishing authority, and they punish the child. If we do some sinful activity in the society, then police or government or the judiciary system is the punishing authority. But it is possible to escape from court of our society, of our government, but it is not possible to escape from the court of Yamaraj. So Krishna is saying, Dando Damayata Muslim. So among all punishing authorities, this Yamaraj represents Lord Krishna. And Yamaraj knows about every activity we perform knowingly or unknowingly in our life, either good or bad. Sometimes we wonder how Yamaraj knows everything. But a very amazing point, Krishna has done a very high-tech arrangement for that also. We know this concept of CCTV camera, which is there in our world, which we see in all the apartments, especially cities like Bangalore, we see everywhere. But this is not a new concept which we are implementing. This concept is already there. Krishna has fixed 13 CCTV cameras in this world to record all our activities. Bhagavatam talks about it. He says, this is something new. You might be hearing that. Suryognihikam maruddeva somha sandhyahani disha kam kum swam dharma iti hiyete dehayasya sakshina. There are different cameras. For example, sun. If somebody performs some sinful activity, or might be good activity also, in sunlight, sun is that is recorded, whatever is done in the sunlight. And sun god is Sakshi, is the witness. Similarly, if some is not performing activity in sunlight, but doing something in moonlight, either good or bad, that activity is also recorded by moonlight, and moon god is witness for that. Bhagavad Gita verse, somebody is asking, I have mentioned here 6.1.42. So moon god is recording that. And if somebody says, okay, why will I do some wrong activity in sunlight and moonlight? I will do in complete darkness, this new moon day, no light at all. So if light is not there, air must be there, right? So air records that activity, and Vayu Devta, Pavan Devta, he is the witness. And somebody say, okay, I'll not perform any sinful activity on the ground. I will go underground, or I'll go under the water, and there I'll perform. So if I go underground, then Dharti is witness. This planet Earth is witness. If I go underwater, then Varun Dev is witness. All 10 directions are witness. Sky is witness. Morning time, evening time, afternoon time, they are the witness. So many ways are there to record our activities. And then some intelligent person will say, okay, they are recording only my physical activities. If I perform something at mental level, if I'm abusing somebody in my mind, if I'm cursing somebody in my mind, then who knows? But please don't forget, Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Sannivishtam. Lord is there in the form of Paramatma in everybody's heart. And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi, Nivasa Sharanam Suram, Gati Bharta Prabhu Sakshi. That Sakshi word Krishna is using. He says, I am the witness. I am the witness of every activity, every thought which living entities get. So this and everything is getting recorded, and server of all these cameras are there in the office of Yamraj. So he has a record of each and every activity. We don't know about all this arrangement, and we, very foolish people, we think that whatever I do doesn't matter. I can live my life the way I want. How does it matter? But my dear devotee, it matters. It really matters. So we should be aware about all these points, and then only we can improve our consciousness. Otherwise, our consciousness is sure to get degraded. Okay, let me see the time. Okay, we do have 10-15 minutes. So let me cover a few more. Let me finish this. So Krishna says here, Yacchapi sarvabhutana bijam tadaham arjuna na tadasya vina yasya maya bhutam characharam. That, O Arjun, I am the generating seed of all existences. That means, and this point Krishna has told many times, that I am the seed giving father. So all living entities, they are part and parcel of Supreme Lord, and Krishna's position is like he is the father of all living entities. And Krishna's position is like he is everything. He is the goal of our life. He is creating this cosmic manifestation. He is maintainer of this cosmic manifestation and all living entities. He annihilates also. And he is my best well-wisher also. He is the person who gives ultimate shelter also. So please tell me, if we are talking about all these great qualities of Supreme Lord, how can I perceive such great personality through my very limited and tiny senses? Is it possible? So it is not possible. That's the reason he's Adhokshara, at all not possible. But whatever examples Krishna has given in this chapter, they are just like very token examples. Initially, when we started, we talked about one example that a 4-year-old child is talking to a great scientist. Can you please tell me about the rocket science? So that scientist is giving some example in the context of his own toys. So similarly, whatever example Krishna has given here, they are in the context of those things which we can perceive through our limited senses. It doesn't mean that that is the maximum opulence which Krishna can exhibit. Rather, Krishna says in the next verse, it's a very wonderful verse, it says, Yat yat vibhutim asatvam shrimat urjitam evava tat tat evava gacchatam mam tejo ansha sambhavam. So let me read the translation. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. So this is not the limit of Krishna's opulence, but this is whatever we had talked about, like ocean or mountain or Himalaya or power of time or power of our consciousness, they all have emanated from one spark of Supreme Lord's power. We can't understand his power completely. But still, these examples are very important, because through these examples, we can absorb our consciousness in thoughts of Krishna, and we can increase our remembrance for Lord Krishna. Because his power is unlimited. This is like picture of Karanadakshay Vishnu. We read from Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna's one planetary portion known as Karanadakshay Vishnu, from his body pores, millions and millions of universes, not planets, universes come into existence. In each universe, there are moon or sun or millions of planets. So everywhere they are there. So what is the power of this personality who is emanating these millions of universes from his body pores? But what this Brahma Samhita says, Brahma, this prayer of Brahma says, Yasyek nishvasit kal mathavalambya jivanti loma bilaja jagatandanatha Vishnun mahasa iha yasya kala visheshu govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So Brahmaji, who is the topmost and the most intelligent living entity on this in this universe, he says that millions of universes are coming out from the body of this Mahavishnu. But this Mahavishnu is just a plenary portion of Supreme Lord Govinda or Krishna. So we cannot understand power of Krishna in our world around us. We cannot understand power of Mahavishnu. What to speak of understanding power of Supreme Lord Krishna is completely beyond our conceiving power. No living entity can understand that. Only sometimes it is said that even Krishna does not know his power, the limit of his power. So the point is that, okay, please go through this chapter again. Please revise those examples which we taught today, and please try to increase our remembrance for Lord Krishna through some practical examples which we can implement in our day-to-day life. And okay, so I would like to stop here. Before that, I just want to take 5 more minutes for glories of Damodar month, because this Damodar month is going on. I understand you all are aware about the glories of Damodar month. It started from 21st October. It will continue till 19th of October. And various Shastric references are there where it has been mentioned that this Damodar month is very dear to Lord Krishna. Na Kartik samo maso, na kratena samam yuga. There is no month like Kartik month in the whole year. Just like no Vedam Sradasham, there is no scripture like Vedas. Tirtha Gangaya Sama, no Tirtha Gangaya, there is no Tirtha or holy river like Ganga. Similarly, there is no month like Kartik. And if we render little devotional services in the month of Kartik, just like offering lamb, then Krishna becomes very pleased, very mercifully. He rewards and he accepts our services. And this is a very easy way given to we all living entities through which we can connect to Lord Krishna. So our sincere request is there. I won't be able to cover all the glories because I'm crossing time limit. So I won't be able to cover. But the point is that it's my request that please let's be more sincere in this month. For example, see this verse is from Skand Purana. It says, Kalpakoti sahasrani patakani bahunyapi. Whatever sin one can perform in millions and millions of lifetimes, they all can be burned just by offering a lamb to Lord Krishna in the month of Kartik. So as I said, that we don't know what activities we are performing, but our record is there in the office of Yamaraj. And if we want to destroy that record, this is very nice opportunity and very simple one. We don't have to do something great. Just offer lamp to Lord Krishna. We had to perform certain activities very regularly in the month of Kartik. Since most of you have joined recently to the process of Krishna consciousness, I have not mentioned all here, and I have mentioned very few. For example, I hope you all have started chanting regularly. If you have not started, then please chant at least one round of Mahamantra. If you are already chanting, then please do additional rounds. For example, 4 rounds, 8 rounds, whatever number of rounds you can do. Please utilize this time. Today we have seen Kalaha Kalayatamaham, that Kala is also energy of Supreme Lord. We can only utilize our time, right? So please utilize your time in rendering devotional service, for example, chanting Mahamantra. Then offer lamp to Tulsi Maharani, because it is not easy to connect to Supreme Lord directly. We need mercy of our gurus, our acharyas, and we need mercy of devotees like Tulsi Maharani. So please offer lamp to Tulsi Maharani. Please do parikrama or circumambulation of Tulsi Maharani. And offer ghee lamp morning, evening, as many times as you can. There is no restriction. And encourage your family people also to offer lamp every day. And some other points also I mentioned. I don't know whether you have started observing Kartik, observing Ekadashi or not. But even if you don't do, then please observe Kartik Ekadashi. It's very important. And Damodar Astak is the prayer that also we can sing every day. You can join this 8:15 program from our temple where every day we sing Damodar Astak. And try to get up early in the morning, take bath, do some charity, some austerity. So this will help us. So this will help us to observe this Kartik Vrat very nicely. If any question is there, either regarding today's session or this Kartik month, then Prabhuji takes a session of question answer on every Friday evening. I hope you join that session. Please do that. That session is dedicated to question answer. If something is there, if you are ready to stay, we can take 1 or 2 questions here also. Otherwise, you please join that session, and there also we'll take all the questions regarding today's session also. If time permits, I can take a couple of questions. Or there are two options. Either I start a quiz here, or if you have some question, we can go through that question. We have time of 10 minutes here. So whatever you suggest, I have a little quiz also. We can go with the quiz also. Okay. So one answer has come as quiz. Okay. Now this quiz is only to revise what we have covered today, so that whether we heard attentively or not, we will come to know. Among all punishing authorities, who is Krishna's representative? Time, death, Yama, Shiva, Rudra. Please type. You can type. You can type in chat box. Okay. Yes, many of you are answering Yama. So thank you for hearing attentively. Yes, Yamaraj is the punishing authority, which we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, Dando Damayatamasi, right? So thank you very much. I request everyone to answer on that. Okay. And please be a little quick because we are running out of time. Next one is that among immovable things, Krishna can be seen. Let me type here so that I make that you are writing for the next question. Among immovable things, Krishna can be seen as mountains, Meru mountain, Sumeru mountain, Himalaya mountain, Vindhya mountain. Okay, so let me go back to yeah, so many answers are coming as Himalaya mountain. One is Sumeru mountain. Then, okay, 2 is Meru mountain. Okay. So, yeah, as I mentioned that yes, Meru mountain is certainly higher than Himalaya mountain, but we are talking about immovable things. So the description is there in the scriptures that this Meru mountain sometimes moves or wobbles, but this Himalaya mountains, the example which Krishna has given in Bhagavad Gita, this verse which we referred today, Krishna has given example of Himalaya. Among immovable things, please remember me as Himalayan. That is more practical for us because some of us have visited Himalaya, or we have read about Himalaya in our textbook, or we talk about Himalaya, but many people don't know about Meru. So let us bring it in our practice. Whenever you visit or you think about Himalaya, please think about Lord Krishna also. Thank you very much. Most of the answers are correct. Now, next one, among alphabets, dash represents Krishna. Vowels, consonants, ka varga, starting from ka, kha, ga, ga, Om, A varg, not A varg, A, and then Pa varg. Pa, 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 Pa. I hope question is clear. Among alphabets, dash represents Krishna. Okay. Okay, I'm getting answer Om and A, 5. Okay. Akara, yes. A, okay, very nice. So almost everyone, most of you have answered correctly. See, the answer is Aksharanam Akarosmi. Remember, I was talking about that in the world of alphabet, everything is vesting, everything is residing on letter A. Otherwise, all other alphabets are half, isn't it? Now, someone has referred Om also, so that we talked in other contexts. Giram, it means among all sound vibrations, Om represents Krishna. But here the question was specific to alphabets, not sound vibration. So Om, somebody or some people, some devotees have answered Om also, but that is for sound vibration. That is not for alphabet. Okay. So I hope that is clear. Thank you for answering. Among trees, dash represents Krishna. Neem, banyan, mango, arjun, jackfruit. Okay. So most of the answer, almost all answers are okay. Mango is also coming as answer. Okay. Yeah, but most of the answers are like banyan. We might like mango, there's no doubt, but among trees, Krishna says, Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshana. All characteristics and big like a king. Banyan tree appears like a king. So banyan is, whenever we see banyan tree, please remember Lord Krishna. Okay, let me see. Among senses, dash represents Krishna. Tongue, mind, consciousness, intelligence, life wave. Okay. Okay. So answers are coming between 2 and 3. Intelligence also has come 4, 2, 3, and 4. So if we go back to Krishna's word, then I hope you remember that. Among senses, in the world of 11 senses, we talked about 11 senses, right? 5 Gyanendriya, 5 Karmendriya, and mind. And we also talked that mind is king of all senses. Right? So, Indriyanam Manaschasmi. Some of you have mentioned consciousness. So, consciousness we talked in other contexts where Bhutanam Asmi Chetasam. Among all living entities, I am like this. I am consciousness. So yes, consciousness is also representative of Krishna, but in some other context, not in the context of senses. We are talking about senses, so mind represents Krishna. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, among devourers, Krishna is dash, means those who take away our things. The options are time, death, yama, gambling, Brahma, and Paramatma. So yes, most of the answers are death. Yes, that is true. Mrityu sarva harasya. So whenever we try to possess more and more things and we become greedy, let's not forget that time is simply passing. Time is also representative of Krishna, and death is waiting for me. Death is also representative of Krishna. And with every sunrise and sunset, sun is taking away my life. Sun is also representative of Krishna. And my consciousness is also representative of Krishna. So let us become Krishnamaya, means completely absorbed in Krishna's thought, Krishna's word. Okay, so the point is that, yes, we cannot perceive Supreme Lord completely. It does not mean that we cannot connect to Lord Krishna. It's very easy to connect to Supreme Lord, and He is our best well-wisher. He loves us a lot. We have to realize it and we have to feel it. And Krishna consciousness is a process through which we realize that loving relationship with Supreme Lord. So I'm very happy that you all have started this journey of Krishna consciousness. And we pray to Shri Radha Krishna, Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and our Guru Parampara, that you very quickly advance on this path of Krishna consciousness. I would like to stop here. We don't have time for question answer, but if you have, you can type in the chat box. If time permits, I will take it, because many people are dropping out. And if you can continue, I would like to do one round of japa also for those who would like to continue for next 7 to 8 minutes. Meanwhile, if you wish, you can type question if you have, and I will take later on if you stay in the program. Let us take the japa mala and we will do one round of japa. So thank you very much. Let's continue that japa. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. So dear devotees, thank you very much for joining today's Gita course. And all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to assembled devotees, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Next week, Prabhuji will continue with the theme which is going on, that is the karma theme. So please do join next time also. Thank you, Hare Krishna.